Everybody needs a break. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're making $10,000 in your business, $10 million in your business. Everybody needs a break. Now, this is our second episode about taking time away from your business, because last week we were talking about how to take time away from your business. And then this time we're talking about why you need to take a break. If you can't tell, your girl is about to take a break. So just bear with me, your girl about to take a break. And so in today's episode, I want to talk about the value of taking a break away from your business. But also I'm being sensitive because not everybody can take these big breaks. You know, we hear about some of these people that are taking a year off, 6 months off and all that. And not everybody can do that, right? So I'm going to talk to you from the standpoint of what you can do. So welcome back to another episode of the Keenya Kelly podcast, where we talk about all things life, business, marketing your business, having a balanced life, and all the things. So today I wanted to have a conversation all about why it is important to take time away from your business, because there's so much. Okay. So let's just dive on into it. One thing that I know is that we have all been programmed, especially as Americans. We've all been programmed to work, okay? That you've got rent, you got mortgage, you got light, you have all these different expenses, and these things cost X, Y, and Z. And in order for you to pay those things, you have to work, right? It's just the name of the game, especially living here in the US. And unless you have a mom, dad, or just given a whole sum of money for the rest of your life, then you've got to do some things in order to be able to pay for living here. Otherwise, you are going to be homeless, right? As funny as it may sound, it is the truth. And so because of that, we got programmed at school to figure out, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so once you figure out what you want to be when you grow up, and then you go and you get like the college education or whatever, and then you get a job. And typical jobs have you working 40 hours a week. Okay. You're working, clock in, well, it depends on your schedule or whatever, but 9 to 5 typically or whatever. And so you're working from 9 till whatever. You have an hour lunch break, and then you're off at whatever time. Okay. So now you're home and you're doing your home life things, and then you come back. And then typically on the weekends, if you have like a corporate type job, whatever, on the weekends, you are off. You're off Saturday and Sunday, and then you go back on Monday. Okay. So there's all that. Now, typically built into that is they give you time off a week or 2 weeks for vacation, where you're able to just go off, not do anything. Nobody's calling, nobody's texting. You're just off, right? And that's typical of what you're given in the United States when you work like a salaried job or something like that in corporate America. Well, that is not the case when you run a business, okay? Because when you run a bit, okay, so when I had a job, I had a sales job, and my job was to find people to sell to them, get the orders fulfilled, manage them, and then do it over again, right? That's it. You know, I worked for Sprint Corporate. I did not have to make the phones. I did not have to do a series of different things that had to happen in order for the client to get what they needed in order to, utilize the services from Sprint. I didn't have to do any of those things. My job was to sell and then get the orders to them so they could fulfill them. In my business, that's not the case, okay? In my business, before I had a team, it was all me, right? I had to come up with the products. I had to build everything, implement everything, write everything, film everything, edit everything, post everything, checks and balances with the money, talk to the clients, work with the clients, everything, all of that was my responsibility, right? If anything went wrong with my computer, my responsibility. Just everything, okay? And so when you are running a business, it's not like you typically can just do what you enjoy or what you're hired to do, and other people are going to do other things. No, typically you're doing all the things until something happens and allows you to be able to hire other people to help you in those areas. And that is very stressful. It's very taxing on your mind, body, spirit, on all the different things, right? It's taxing on your relationships. It's taxing on your health, just so many different aspects that we may not even understand. And here's what I have learned. There were so many seasons where I didn't take any time off, okay? For a couple reasons, okay? So one reason I didn't take time off that I realized later, I'm gonna be vulnerable, is that when I was going through divorce, right? I'm trying to unpack my mind of like how all this went down. So before I found out my ex was cheating, I was working on building my hair care business and whatever. And I had a job as well. And people knew me in Richmond because I used to host this really big hair show every year. So I had this kind of reputation or whatever, positive or negative, it was what it was. And so then when everything went down and people, and like the divorce starts coming out, in my head, I was like, I didn't even know I was thinking this, but it was like, I don't want people to see me sweat. I don't want people to feel like I'm not okay because I'm going through divorce. I want to just move on. I'm going to go to therapy, all the things, but to the public, I want them to see me as, wow, look at her, just successful, just going, right? And that wasn't initial. I think initially I had to just get out. I had to get a better job, and then once I did that, then it was like, okay, now that I'm like not in like fight to place to live or whatever, I was like, okay. So then it became this, I am going to show everybody that I am okay. Right. So got a 6-figure job, got back in network marketing, started becoming very successful. And then I'm just sharing on social media what I'm doing. And I'm sharing, one, because I'm recruiting people into the company that I was in network marketing, but also I wanted things to get back to him that I was doing well. The people that were talking about me behind my back, I wanted to get back to them that I was doing well. And I think this was unconsciousness. I'm not sure. Or could be unconscious, conscious. I don't know. It was whatever was going on. And I just went into just work mode, right? It was like, prove that I'm okay or whatever, that I don't need you or whatever it was. And that happened. I just was doing what I was doing and everybody could see this girl is crushing it. She's crushing it and crushing it. But I didn't realize was that was something I learned as a child, that I was the fourth of 4 girls and I never got anybody's attention. But when I was excelling in school and academics and competitions and all that stuff, I was getting attention. So I think unconsciously that I went back to that little girl and started to do that and to work. So then what started to happen was I worked full time. I was in network marketing, and then I didn't want to stay at that job because it was just too much. And I wanted to focus on network marketing, but I also had gotten into the coaching and consulting industry and I wanted to quit the job. And so when I quit the job, honestly, too soon, I put myself in a situation where I had to make it in my network marketing business because it just had to, right? Because I didn't have the second income. I had just had the one, which is, I don't recommend it. That's why I wrote about it in my book, Before You Quit Your Job. I don't recommend it. And so I had to make it. And so then when I started my coaching and consulting business, I was focusing on more of that and less on network marketing. So now the money was going down. And now I realized I had to work even harder because now I'm trying to build a business. And as I was building the business, I realized all the work that I needed to do in order to build the business, that I needed to learn so much, that I needed to create content. I needed to build an audience. I needed to learn all the email marketing and funnels and I needed to learn video marketing, and I needed to learn all this stuff. And I found myself waking up, working, lunch, working, watching TV, working. I would work all day until I went to sleep, all day until I went to sleep. And I did that for a very, 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 very long time. I still do that now. And I think I started having this like revelation over the last like 4 or 5 months. You know, God is so kind. You know, he was the one that told me to come back to Houston. And since coming back to Houston, I feel like I was sent to California for additional healing in a way that I couldn't have gotten it here. Maybe, I don't know. And then now he's brought me back to Houston. It feels like I'm getting another level of healing that I can't describe it. It's kind of like I came from Virginia and I healed some here. Then he wanted me to go to California and heal in those different ways. And then now back to Houston. And it feels like right now I'm going through some additional levels of healing. And one of those things is recently, it was brought back to my attention just through the Holy Spirit, where it was like, hey, I thought you said you and your team were going to do a 4-day work week. So let's get back to figuring out how we can do that. And when he said that, it was like, this is not for them. This is for you. You need to have that day off for yourself to go and be and not think and not whatever. And immediately I had the thought of like, oh man, we're going to lose a whole day. Like me, I've got so much I need to do. Okay, maybe they can be off on Fridays, but I'm still going to do some work, you know? But then I was like, at that same time, I was like, no, the whole point of this is not to work all day, every single day, but to actually have time off to do life and to enjoy life and right? But I found myself just like, just so in the hamster wheel of, oh my God. But if I don't work, then I don't get paid, right? Or whatever, you know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, we're taking it. Our first 4-day work week is this Friday. And so everybody is working an extra hour this week every day. So that way they can still get paid for the time they miss on Friday. But here's the deal. Here's what I have learned about why everyone must take time off from their business. One, for their own sake, for your own mental health, your own emotional health. So you're not sitting at that desk. You're not sitting at that computer. You're not doing your hands. You're able to just be gone. And that's it. Like that's it. You're just not doing anything, that you are off during the workday. You're out doing whatever it is you want to be doing during the daytime on a Friday or whatever, right? But when you take a week off, now you're like just doing whatever you want to do for a week, whatever, you know? And one of the reasons is just for you, again, just for you, your own mental, your own emotional health, you know? Because you deserve to not have to work all day, every single day. Even if that means you're not going to make as much money that week, like you still deserve that. I still deserve that. And that's one of the things that I'm reminding myself of is that like, no, like if I have to catch up because I took time off, I'll catch up. Right. But also one of the reasons is because your team needs you to take time off, right? Because when we as business owners, we're always thinking creatively, we're doing all these different things and we're going, which means we've got them going, right? And so they're constantly in this state of going, which they work, you know, but it's like, it's just not a relaxed state, but more maybe some levels of anxiety or whatever, because like of working and get all these things done or whatever. But they need you to take time off so that they can have time away from you, you know, so that because they're humans outside of them working with you, they are humans that need like relaxing time as well. But also because one of the things that I've learned is that when I take time off from my business, one, I'm refreshed, right? But two, I come back refreshed in a way that I couldn't have been just with a long weekend. That I could get, it's like I had this break and I could just, whatever. I just stepped away and then I come back and now I am fresh. I just have more to offer to myself, more to offer to the company, my clients, more to offer to my team because I took that time away, you know? Like I am contemplating at this very moment taking a week off, right? Some of my friends, they take off a whole month from what they do. Like they're in different countries and I'm just like, wow, you know, it's amazing. One of my friends, he's in the Philippines for a month and I'm like, that's amazing, you know? But I'm like, okay, it's time for me to plan my week off, right? And what does that mean? That means I'm going to go and just not be here or with whatever, you know? And one of the reasons why I'm doing that, because one, it's just been crazy over the last, like since my surgery that I had in November. It's like I had surgery, I was healing and all that was going on. Then my body's just been going, you know, interesting. And then having to pack up my whole house, move to Houston. So all the things since December and we're here now at the end of July. And I'm like, okay, wow, you know, wow. And I need to give myself that kind of break. So I actually have something kind of cool coming up. So I am an ambassador with Opus Clip. It's a tool for video marketing. And they want me to go to DC to go to this conference. And I was like, okay. And so they'll pay for it and all the things. And I'm like, yes, I'll go to a conference, but it's also kind of like time off, right? And I have this amazing opportunity of doing all the things that I need to do before I go to that conference. So that way, while I'm at that conference, I'm hanging, I'm in conference, I'm not in conference. I'm doing my job if I'm hired to do, but I'm not like doing all this stuff. I'm not creating content. I'm not working with clients. I'm like, I'm just being, you know, like I'm just being. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing to do, you know? And then I think I'm going to take another week in October. And right now I pitched myself to this conference in Portugal. And if I get booked to speak in Portugal, then this company is going to fly me to Portugal to be there to speak at the conference and all the things. And I'm like, and I'll take that time to be there as well. And so strategically, as a public speaker, I'm saying to myself, okay, so one of the ways I can take time off and give my team time away from me, give myself refreshed, is literally taking the time and just going somewhere. Right now, it's not as fun. I'm single. I'm not dating anybody. My best friend can't really take the time off. So I don't want to like go somewhere like by myself, like to the beach. I'm like, I'd rather do if I was with somebody, you know? So as a public speaker, I can go, okay, what kind of events would I want to attend? I can pitch myself at these events. When they pay for it and the flight and all that, then I can actually stay a little longer. And then that could be more a vacation. So I'm intentionally doing that in my single season. Cause I'm like, I just don't like to travel and be gone by myself. I just want to be with somebody, my best friend or, you know, whatever. So I'm just intentionally going like, okay, let me do some of those things to get time away, because it's just boring when you do it by yourself. Just me personally. But anyway, that's a tangent. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that if you're an entrepreneur, one of the things that you need to do is to figure out how can you take some space away from your business? How can you take a day? You may not be able to take a week. How can you take one day that instead of you coming in on Friday, you're like, nope, you get enough stuff done on Thursday and then you just notifications off. You don't log in. You train yourself to just no entire Friday, right? Maybe you can do that for Monday. Just go, nope, somebody else is going to run the team meetings. I'm not, nope, somebody else is going to do that, right? How can you just do that? Don't start with a week because that may take a long time for you to do that. But how can you just do a day, right? No, you're not going to get that stuff done that day, right? Yes, that stuff's going to have to be done when you come back, but you still need that break to just be and just do nothing. Like this Friday, I am planning a game night here at my apartment complex. It's like 7 p.m. But I'm saying to myself, okay, but what else could I do on Friday? And I'm like, okay, I can go and get my nails done. It's time. There are some different places I wanted to go eat in Houston, like the Puttery because of Keith Lee down in Pearland. I'm like, okay, I can go there. But I've been seeing everybody in like some of these Facebook groups talking about this restaurant. And I'm like, okay, well, I can go there for lunchtime, like 2 o'clock lunch when nobody's there, and enjoy that and just be that or whatever. I love going to Houston Chinatown, and I'm like, okay, I can go to Chinatown. I can just go and like explore, because I haven't explored since I've been gone for 5 years, and just kind of get myself reacclimated or whatever, on Friday, and then have the game night with my community, and just not like, my team's not going to be there. They're not going to be logging in. They're not going to be talking to me. So I'm like, let's just all just be and just enjoy just being. So that's what I'm going to try to do this Friday. Also, I may make, because I'm having a Houston creator meetup tonight on here in Houston. I'm going to meet a ton of people, and I may see who I actually connected with who may be off on Friday. I'm like, hey, you want to go have lunch? And I can like go and connect with them. That might happen. That might not, but it's still potentially, I'll just think about it as I'm meeting people tonight. Yeah, but I am really starting to like value figuring out how to have more time, like get all the things done when I'm working, and then when I'm not working, being off, like I'm trying to retrain myself how not to like grab my laptop and work from my couch while I'm working on it again, because I'm just still in that same mode of things, and I'm just like, girl, we're gonna get out of that, because you can't date, you can't be married and connecting with your spouse or even your boyfriend if all you're doing is working. Like, you got to get back into that mode of humanness, you as a person, and giving yourself what you need, loving on my cats while they're still here, loving on myself and take care of myself, going to Zumba classes and all that type of stuff. So I want, for me, that I'm trying to give to me, I wanted to give you this same gift of valuing taking some time off, because you deserve it, because you need it. And if we don't take it, there's negative effects. There just are negative effects of us not taking those times for ourselves, giving ourselves what we need, and just doing the rat race. Okay. So if you have any questions, please, you're watching this on YouTube, please ask me here in the comments. I would love to support you and share with you what I'm doing. If you're listening on the podcast, please, I haven't received a review on this podcast in over a year. I would love it if you would just go to Spotify, go to Apple, and just give me a review, because nobody's listening. Like, you're listening because you're hearing this, but like, people aren't getting it as much because nobody's writing reviews. So I would really appreciate that. Okay. So if you subscribe to the podcast here on YouTube. And so thank you guys so much for listening and watching.